This is Healthcare Simulation Technology by James McCormack. So what is healthcare simulation? The definition of healthcare simulation, it's a simulation technology that runs, and basically it can be used for anything, but it's essentially trying to run different scenarios, different situations in the healthcare industry and the medical industry. And the purpose of it is to gather data, to gather results, or to learn things from whatever that simulation might tell you, whether it be data or other information. A big part of healthcare simulation is you want it to be real, and in order to have it be real, the simulation has to be very complex. It's going to take a lot of variables and a lot of other technology to go with it. And a big part of this process is the people that use the simulation, the companies, the hospitals, they're going to want to have specific objectives that help them determine what they're trying to learn, what they're trying to take from the simulation. And it can be applicated in many different ways, whether it's a training system for new and up and coming surgeons, or it's a patient simulation to see how patients might react. Could be economic based, but we'll get more into that later. And kind of close what healthcare simulation is, it's essentially risk-free learning. When a simulation is run, they can take results from it without having any real downsides or casualties. And they use this to assess kind of what happened and improve from it. Okay, so technology stack, basically like the technology involved with this. So there's going to be lots of different coding languages that are involved in this, including C++, Java, JavaScript, Python, many more. And other technologies, obviously networking, communication, it all. People have to be able to communicate with each other. It has to send data quickly. Virtual reality could be big into some of these simulations if they're made for training or for point of view from a patient or as a surgeon. Mobile platforms, they might take this data and send it through apps that either patients can look at, or it could be an app that allows someone in training to use the simulation to run it. Security. Security is a huge part with anything in the medical industry because they likely contain confidential documents and those cannot be hacked. So security is going to be big into this. Of course, artificial intelligence, any ways they can make it more efficient, that's going to be a huge part of what goes into this. Cloud services, the data has to be held somewhere. Anything the simulation gets, whether it be numbers, whether it be reactions, and all that other information has to be held in the cloud somewhere. Databases, of course, where you would store the data and all that fun stuff. Another interesting technology that would be involved in this is, of course, 3D modeling. In order to have a realistic simulation, you're going to have 3D modeling of both tools and people and the human body, depending on what they're using these simulations for. And then the jobs in healthcare simulation, they're kind of like a mirror, almost like a flip of all the technologies. So where there's one where the technology exists, there's going to be jobs that are people that specialize in each one of those technologies. So I'm not going to over explain, I'm just going to kind of run through it quick. Software engineers obviously are doing the coding. Simulation engineers are specialists in simulation technology. Data scientists, they analyze and store data. Virtual reality developers speaks for itself. Artificial intelligence specialists also work with AI. Quality testers, they're going to specialize in running the simulations, testing it, making sure everything works, making sure there's no bugs within the technology and in the code. Network experts, someone has to manage all of the networks, all of the communication, how the data is sent, how that operates. And instructional designers create the realistic tools for the simulation. Future trends. Well, so far, healthcare simulation has done a lot of good, saved a lot of lives, so we can assume that it's going to be a continually growing industry. And computer architecture is actually really important in this technology because the higher functioning and the faster faster the technology that runs a computer will allow for a higher power simulation, a more complex one with more data, with more things going on within the simulation. Artificial intelligence is, of course, a growing technology as well, and that's going to play a big role in these simulations, how we can build them faster, how we can make them more efficient. And of course, training advancements, the medical industry itself is constantly growing, and we can assume the technology is going to grow as well. So just to conclude, healthcare simulation technology, it's done a lot for allowing companies to simulate situations, scenarios, and other things related to healthcare without necessarily suffering casualties or other bad things that would have happened if they did it in real life. The big thing that this allows those companies to do is to test things and see how things would happen if this scenario happened in real life, but with no consequences. Technology, as it continues to develop, will continue to make more complex simulations, more realistic ones, and also faster moving ones. A big part of this industry too is it can be applied to a whole lot of different things. There isn't one way you can take healthcare simulation technology and say this is all it does. It can be used in a wide variety of different ways, including training, uh, data, both economic and blood pressure and all those types of things. You can also put it into how patients might react, what sort of lives patients might have when receiving certain treatment, and how that all works. Collaboration is a big thing in simulation. There's going to be lots of people using these simulations. It's going to be running on a lot of different networks, so someone has to manage it. And the biggest part of healthcare simulation is just taking someone's idea, taking someone's theory, putting it into simulation, and seeing what that will do. This is Healthcare Simulation by James McCormack. Thank you.